Welcome to Brian 360 and welcome to a walking 360 tour of Nassau in the Bahamas. This is our first day in Nassau. We have just parked our car about a block away. Walking through. No, we don't want your samples. Stop. Stop. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. People are everywhere. They're in the Bahamas. They're in St. Martin. They're in Canada. No, we don't want your samples. Thank you. Good day, sir. Okay, I got a little worked up. Anyway, first day in Nassau. We're walking along. It's about 1,000 degrees, but it's wonderful. This is the straw market on Bay Street, and Bay Street is kind of the main street of downtown Nassau. So, yeah, the straw market has a lot of touristy stuff, as you can see. Lots of shirts, bags, hats, anything that says the Bahamas on it. But it's still a fun place to be. This is kind of the typical market that you'll see in a Caribbean. Yes, I know the Bahamas is not technically part of the Caribbean, but a lot of Caribbean places kind of sell these mementos of your vacation, souvenirs and things like that. Nice place to walk through, and this was our first stop really when we came to the Bahamas. And I recorded this video just so I could remind myself of what it was like walking through the straw market. A lot of these people sell the same things, and I don't know how they stay in business, but somehow they do. There are enough tourists coming through. If you are visiting Nassau from cruise ship, this is about a 2-minute walk from where you depart from the cruise ship. So definitely come here, walk around. It's warm, there are fans, but it's a nice place to walk through. The website NassauParadiseIsland.com describes the origins of the straw market. It states, located on Bay Street in downtown Nassau, the Nassau Straw Market is an authentic representation of an industry that has been growing throughout the Bahamas and the Caribbean since the early 1940s. Originally, the craft and skills of plating, braiding, and weaving were useful when Bahamians led subsistence lifestyles, with baskets being used for carrying fruit and fishing traps. Following the end of World War II, many North Americans began visiting the Bahamas for their vacations, and straw craft souvenirs soon grew in popularity. The outside section of the straw market has some very impressive wood carvings for sale. They're not cheap, but according to that website I just read from, all of the items are available at very reasonable prices, especially if you're good at negotiating. I am not. I have the mark of a tourist on me that says, sucker on my forehead, will pay whatever price you're asking. There's that awesome scene in The Life of Brian by Monty Python where they are haggling over the price of a gourd. I cannot do that. I am awful. The straw market is open every day from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. If you're planning on shopping, you can shop in either American or US dollars or the Bahamian dollar. They are the same value, 1-to-1. I would recommend getting some Bahamian dollars just because it's kind of cool and special using the currency of the country you're in, but there really is no advantage, as far as I know, whether you are paying in Bahamian funds or with US dollars. When you're starting to get to the end of your visit to the Bahamas, if you have some Bahamian currency, then I recommend spending it here. It's not like you're going to be able to walk back into your bank at home and say, I'd like to exchange this Bahamian money for some American dollars or Canadian dollars or euros. So spend that Bahamian money here. On Bay Street, there are plenty of different stores to spend that money on. Everything from tourist shops where they sell the typical t-shirts and towels and hats and keychains to high-end stores selling expensive jewelry, clothing, cologne, perfume. Hey, and look, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. Here we are. We're still on Bay Street. We're a few minutes away from the straw market, and we're looking for lunch at this point. One of the things about the Bahamas is that they have a lot of American chain restaurants. So you've got Dunkin' Donuts, there is a Subway, a Sbarro, a Domino's Pizza, and the place we're walking to is a very special place. I realize that it's kind of a wasted opportunity when you're on vacation in a foreign country and you eat at a restaurant that you have back home. The restaurant we're about to go to, I have visited in Canada, the United States, Mexico, St. Martin, other countries in the Caribbean. And when my wife and I were in Paris, yes, Paris, Paris, France, my wife and I visited this restaurant. Oh boy, I'm ashamed to admit it. So they've just walked off to the left. I'm going to carry on, maybe with my shame, I don't know. But here we are, about to visit McDonald's. So I've had McChickens in all of those countries. And I don't know what they did with the McChicken in Nassau, but it was the best damn McChicken I've had in my life. We went here twice. We went to McDonald's twice in Nassau, and I had the best damn McChicken twice. We are continuing our walk westwards on Bay Street, our stomachs full of amazing McChickens. And my son is about to make the same mistake that I made 20 years ago when I was visiting London, England. So you might have noticed something with the traffic. Can you spot what it is? I'll give you a second or two to think about it. Can you spot what the issue is? If not, don't worry. My son is about to demonstrate what that issue is.
Matthew? My bad, it took me a second to realize.
That's right. They drive on the left-hand side in the Bahamas, much like they do in England. Given that this was a former British territory, that's why they drive on the left. They have warnings painted on the streets of London, England, for tourists such as myself who almost got squished by a truck when I was there 20 years ago. We're now at the Margaritaville area of Nassau, which is a hotel, and there's a beach and some shops. So walk through here if you want to cool down, or you want to do a little bit of shopping on your way to Junkanoo Beach, if that's where your destination is. We're now walking past the Fins Up Water Park. It's rather expensive, so check it out ahead of time online to see if that's something you want to spend your money on. If you're just in Nassau for the day and you want a water park, maybe that's the place you want to spend your time. In the short time that I've had a 360 camera and I've been walking around with a selfie stick, I've come to loathe myself. I think there's only one thing more annoying than a guy walking around with a 360 camera on the end of a selfie stick, and that's the guy who then goes and takes his family and makes them take a selfie with him. But here's a nice little spot, courtesy of Margaritaville. You walk in here, you can take a selfie. So I cut out the part where we're actually taking the selfie because it's much too annoying. So yeah, we took a selfie. It was nice, but I don't want to subject you to that. So here's the spot that is behind Margaritaville and behind the water park. We are walking west towards the Margaritaville Resort. So there's a nice beach there. It joins up with Junkanoo Beach. Actually, I think it is part of Junkanoo Beach, but just owned by the hotel. Now, straight ahead and to the right a little bit, there's a pier with some strange building. Now, technically, there was a pylon there and a rope that blocked off half of the entrance to this area. So I say half of it, you're not supposed to be there. The other half, you can be. Regardless, we're going to pretend that we're dumb tourists and walk along this pier. And here comes the water policeman. He's about to kick us off. But we got a nice view of the Margaritaville Beach, which is Junkanoo Beach, I guess. So it was well worth it. No fines, no prison time. Here we are back on Bay Street. So if I were a member of the X-Men, my mutant power would be sweating. Yes, not much of a useful power, I know. Probably be called the Sweatinator, the Perspirator, I don't know. Anyway, there's this area here. There's a nice little respite from the July Bahamas heat. My 360 camera is supposed to be waterproof up to 10 feet or 3 meters underwater, and I'm going to take a leap of faith right now and test that out. Electronics aren't supposed to get wet, but it all worked out. Back in front of the straw market again. Now we're going to head east on Bay Street. There's a wide variety of stores. Outside of the straw market, you get the touristy stores selling the t-shirts and the souvenirs. There are high-end clothing stores, some beautiful jewelry stores, if that's what you're interested in buying. Lots of nice... No, we do not want any free samples again. Still, thank you. Good day, ma'am. Good day. Travel-type videos are supposed to be entertaining and informative, and I'm really trying my best to make this one both. So I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice for the informative part. First, don't take those samples from those people, but do take samples of rum cake. Just past a shop where a woman was handing out samples of rum cake. We didn't take it there, but we took many more in many other stores. And we bought a lot of rum cake. It is awesome. So, again, write it down if you have to. You're walking along Bay Street and you passed a shop like this one here. They have a display with rum cake, or somebody's asking you if you want samples of rum cake. Try it. It's awesome. Rum cakes are a little bit cheaper at the grocery store, but if you are on Bay Street, buy it. It's worth it. Enjoy. You're welcome. I've done my job. Watching that clip makes me sad. We didn't sample the man's rum cake. Had a great opportunity, but we didn't. But we made up for it. Oh boy, did we make up for it later on. Rum cake. Eat it. Enjoy. This corner, you see a couple of police officers. I wanted to address this as there were a few Bahamas videos on YouTube that I watched before we came here. And people talked about how they didn't feel safe, and there were some sketchy areas of the Bahamas where you shouldn't go. I didn't see that at all. I mean, granted, we're a family of 4. We're not going to nightclubs. We're not going to, hanging out till 3 in the morning. But the main area, downtown Nassau, on Bay Street, we went to a few side streets as well. And there was nothing of anything that caused me concern for our safety or security. We drove around a lot of New Providence Island, and sure, there are areas where you drive into and think, well, this isn't the nicest area, but where in the world do you find a place where it's just all nice? There's always going to be areas that aren't great. But even the areas that we drove through that were not as nice, we still felt fine. So don't worry about your safety and security. Be vigilant, as you should be anywhere, as a tourist or even in your hometown. But yeah, there was nothing that caused us concern about our safety. As we're walking along Bay Street, you will notice many flags and things decorated with the colors of black, gold, and aquamarine. Reason for this is that 6 days before we arrived, unfortunately, we missed it, July 10th, 2023, was the 50th anniversary of the independence of the Bahamas. So after being a colony for 300 plus years with a difficult past, Bahamas became an independent nation, July 10th, 1973. It was really nice to see the patriotism and the colors of the flag everywhere we went. From the website bahamas.gov.bs, the symbolism of the flag is as follows. Black, strong color, represents the vigor and force of a united people. The triangle pointing towards the body of the flag represents the enterprise and determination of the Bahamian people to develop and possess the rich resources of sun and sea, symbolized by gold and aquamarine respectively. The statue that we were just looking at is of Sir Milo Boughton Butler. He was a Bahamian politician who served as the first Governor General in an independent Bahamas, and he died in 1979. Another way he is honored is his picture is on the $20 bill. And right across the street is the House of Assembly and Parliament. I will make my way across the street and get a closer view. Thankfully, the traffic along West Bay Street is one way, so no chance of me looking in the wrong direction, hopefully. There we go. Brian lives to fight another day. Okay, so this is Parliament Square. And all of these beautiful decorations, unfortunately, are no longer there. A few days after I recorded this video was when they started taking down the decorations celebrating Independence Day. Although the Bahamas is an independent nation now, like many nations around the world that were colonized by European countries, there are still lots of ties to those countries. And of course, here is a statue of Queen Victoria right in the middle of Parliament Square. One of the things I took away from my trip to the Bahamas 6 months ago was a love of Bahamian Junkanoo and rake and scrape music. And the reason I bring it up now is there's a radio station that I started listening to on an app called Radio Garden. And the radio station's called Bahamian or Nuttin. That's Nuttin apostrophe. And on that station there are a lot of songs that sing about the pride and patriotism of the Bahamas. So there are a few songs that reference the 50th anniversary of the independence, and it's a great radio station to listen to. A lot of upbeat music and always put a smile on my face. Lots of patriotic music. It's a great station.
Here is my vision for the Bahamas.
As we walk back to Bay Street and then we'll continue eastwards, I just want to say a few things about the Bahamian people, given that I've been going on and on about their pride and patriotism. The people of the Bahamas were incredible. I've been to many places around the world, lots of places in the Caribbean, and yes, I know the Bahamas is not part of the Caribbean. Anyway, the people of the Bahamas were so friendly and welcoming. Really made our 2-week stay there extra special. Lots of amazing things to see. Of course, the beaches and lots of videos that I've put on my channel because we had such a great time. But the people made this trip extra special. You can go on a vacation and see lots of cool things, and well, that's about it. But it's nice when the people kind of recognize the value of tourism and make their guests feel very welcome. So, thank you to the people of the Bahamas. If we didn't have such a great time, I wouldn't have made so many videos of your amazing country. So as we continue eastwards, we're kind of walking away from the main touristy area. There are still some shops along here that we visited, and there's still plenty to see down here, but if you're visiting, especially for the day, you're probably not going to come into this area. If you are taking a day trip, like we did to Pearl Island, you will come down into this area because that's where the ferry leaves from. There are many wonderful excursions that you can take from Nassau, so look into that if you are planning a trip to the Bahamas. In this final segment of this video, I'm going to be making a turn into Pompey Square. Now, Pompey Square is named in honor of a slave named Pompey, who in 1830 led a revolt of slaves on Zuma Island. There is a museum called the Pompey Museum of Slavery and Emancipation that I urge you to go to. I recorded our visit to the Pompey Museum of Slavery and Emancipation and will someday post that video on YouTube when I can find the time to do it properly and edit it so it is a good video. I certainly recommend going to this museum. It talks about the history of slavery, the impact it had on the individuals who were slaves, and the impact that slavery continues to have to this day. You might have noticed that I'm now walking solo in this video. My family is taking a break. We are trying to figure out how to get home on a jitney bus. So they're sitting, relaxing, cooling down. Here's our last look at Bay Street as a beautiful and loud truck drives by. Perfect. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but in about a minute or two, I'm about to meet one of those amazing Bahamian people who really changed our vacation. I'm talking about Rupert the Guitar Man. So I round the corner, I see my family sitting there exhausted, and Rupert comes up and approaches us, and he eventually plays Don't Let Nobody Stress You Out, which I think became the soundtrack to our vacation. So all in all, a beautiful place to walk around, Nassau, New Providence Island, the capital of the Bahamas. Come and visit, you'll have a great time. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.